Hello, everyone. Thanks for visiting. We want to speak about why males are quitting and moving to MGITO. Because men are withdrawing from vocational and educational connections, which is having a terrible effect on men, women, and society as a whole. Less so for women. This is my current subject. Supporting women in productive occupations costs more than they make. This is wreaking havoc on society and civilization, and it can't last much longer. Let's look at some big picture difficulties before getting into details. Men aren't constructing professions or families, therefore women have taken up these duties. Men don't seek women since they're not starting families. Not all sad men can't succeed in their undertakings. This is not true, and Western cultural institutions show it. We consume a lot of material and give it a lot of thought, so it's not isolated events. We've been left to fend for ourselves by industrial workers. Some of you argue that manufacturing jobs are unimportant, and that well-paying office jobs are more essential. It's not simply the industrial class's productive labor and products. There's more. In other words, you won't merely see the actual families that help the real tax base there. The office job is more tailored toward working alone, and males aren't adept at keeping office jobs. No matter how brilliant you are, you won't be able to maintain your office job and reach your objective until you act symptomatically and take the beta blue pill. You'll need to go against your manly physiology, and if you don't think it will become that terrible, you won't be able to do what you need to. It's already occurred. Just look at the elder males there. As we'd said before, if males did the job, you couldn't because women aren't as good. Men don't do the labor. You know that men are pressured into abandoning their hunting areas, which may sound odd, but it's true. It's fundamental, primordial, and natural. As we've said before, this is a problem in all Western societies, despite not having replacement population growth. Women are succeeding at work, and all they have to do is complain about one of the men's manners or how he makes her feel. Women feel sexual empowerment at work. That's how much our culture and society attend to women's desires, needs, and emotions. In an office situation when production is secondary, it's a different element. You know that whatever argument you want to make to me, such as, "That's fantastic, you're a super badass," but your civilization is crumbling, and you can calculate how long it will take with a simple linear extrapolation. I won't believe it. What's your point? You can do the same with your health. Simply project it outward if things remain as they are. You may do the same with your funds now that we've made modifications. More men aren't working. Some of them will turn it around and establish their own enterprises. But we apologize for putting it that way. Some of them will establish their own industries and enterprises. I've seen the same thing in schools. Drugged and humiliated, their marks are predicated on submission compliance and restrictions. Men are ejected from prep school, and boys are driven out. Boys are condemned for being boys. We're sorry for stating it this way, but they are not men's or a strong young man's traits. If we were insensitive, I'm sorry. It's like penalizing the fittest lads for the same behavior. You're wasting your youth. We're setting a bad example by teaching kids to be ignorantly obedient to women. It's horrible, particularly all males. They yield to satisfy the lady. Everyone walks on eggshells as though the whole society is being kept prisoner. Women dominate your school system and denigrate guys. They don't teach arithmetic and won't offer marks for sitting still. Little Johnny is excellent at doing what he's taught. Consider this if you want to get married and establish a family. Your youngster is adept at remaining motionless and following directions. You know how competent he is, so you must think this is good, right? Men are less enthusiastic. Should we examine the legal system, or even speak? And I'm pirates might go to prison. This is the only nation where men may be imprisoned for failing to pay for a woman's whole life if they don't marry and have children with her. We know some of you are thinking about this right now. You decided to date a woman. Right. As a parent, you may have decided to part ways. You don't expect to pay for the child's upbringing. You're okay, but that's not all. We are afraid. Let's imagine your kid decides she needs $1,500 a month to care for herself and the child. Yes. You know you won't be able to afford it, so you can only give her $1,500 a month for now. If so, you're arrested. You think? Yes, but if things continue, you'll go to prison. Why would a guy agree while others refuse? She may divorce him without a cause, remove his kids, and harm his reputation. Then he must imprison her or pay for her medical care till she dies. She's not into much. Males are victims of their own nature. submission to women, and women's exploitation of sexuality to manipulate men. Men are victims of their biology in acquiescence to women, and women's desire to control men with sexuality doesn't care about much. They're clueless. Before having sexual contact with you, they want to say yes to you, honey, and yes to you, love. You've also generously rewarded spoiled princesses who believe they're superior. Our whole system caters to a privileged elite that despises and manipulates others who support them. Productivity, efficiency, and future building aren't our top priorities. We try to meet the class's needs. If we said this, you wouldn't call us aggressive or racist. If that's the case, respectable folks must go through it. They're told they're not good enough and asked to respond. The media industry is in this state. If that's all they do, they're slandering people. Like if you disagree with our political ideas, we'll slander you. This is how they justify their actions. And as a result, decent guys are withdrawing from the scenario, which favors the worst behaviors in people and especially women. If a man wants to get ahead and get acquainted with the ladies, and he was raised in the system as a young man, he will do this to achieve his goals. He'll probably. This is the issue males confront, which explains why they're retreating from society on all fronts. We'll succeed in this system. Wow, that's great. We don't wish to diminish your drive, but consider the other men's situations. I'm not sure whether this is planned or malevolent, but it exploits masculine goodness. We're unsure. In previous films, we've revealed his aims. He wants to serve his loved ones, be loyal, and do the right thing. You tell him to aid women, the old and those who can't care for themselves. Then you blame him because he's not your servant and won't always do as you say. You know that ignoring what a guy should do will make him comply, which is ridiculous, since men shouldn't do it. It's how a man's body responds to the outer world. If he pursues the entitled princess who manipulates and lies to him, he must keep the door open for her right and accept it. We're all on a curve, and she must pay for insurance even if he's healthy and has never seen a doctor. Is he not compelled to pay taxes on behalf of those who don't live in his country? They decided against the worst deal for men. We assume you could toss them in jail if they don't obey. But wait, are we already doing that? You may train them young. Drugging youngsters may compel them into cooperation. He must declare bankruptcy. He loses money. In either case, you take the food he has worked so hard to provide for his family and give it to someone who is not from his own country, despises him, plays the victim, wants multiple children, and will teach them to do the same thing right. And if he doesn't agree with you, you are essentially saying, hey, you're a horrible man who doesn't get to hang out with girls and you're a loser. We've done it, right? Media, culture, religion, and government might be used to propagate cruel beliefs, anti-human and counterproductive. They're anti-male, which we've done. Men are opting out. Thus, MGTOW workshops are now necessary to educate them, but also the subject's idea.